This time, the gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning. Madam Speaker, I rise today in strong opposition to this completely closed rule and to the ill-conceived underlying legislation. Madam Speaker, as the gentleman from Colorado who has extended me the time well understands as a freshman, that we have a good number of new members who are to this body, and we'll be making a decision and voting for very important public policy decisions. It's my hope today that I will be able to gather together an argument, not to rebut the gentleman, but to show him and many of his other new colleagues, my new colleagues, why the statement cost-effective and common sense does not apply to the SCHIP bill that the gentleman brings forth today. Madam Speaker, 2 weeks ago I questioned my Democrat colleagues about their claim to be the most honest, open, and transparent House in history when they tout that that is what the leadership of this body is attempting to accomplish. Once again, I will question that claim because we are provided with a product and a process that is none of the above. I know that the gentleman on the Rules Committee had a chance just last night to hear a debate in the Rules Committee about this SCHIP bill. And I believe that hearing would produce enough evidence to suggest that this bill is neither cost-effective or common sense. Since the beginning of the 111th Congress, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have had no regard for regular order and continue to cram legislation through this body without Republican input. When I came to the floor last month to oppose the previous version of this legislation, I explained my opposition on the way that it had been brought to the floor without a single legislative markup. So unfortunately, the new members of this body, unless they serve on the Rules Committee, have not heard the real facts of the case. The real facts of the case, unfortunately, have not changed. In fact, neither Republican leadership nor Republican members on the Energy and Commerce Committee have had any opportunity to participate in crafting this 280-plus pages piece of legislation. I will repeat that. Republican members or Republican leadership have had no chance to craft any part of this 280-page legislative bill. On January 12th of this year, my Republican colleagues and myself sent to President Obama and Speaker Pelosi, which I would now ask unanimous consent to have included in the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
A letter outlining what Republicans would like to see the majority party, the Democrats, to consider before expanding the current SCHIP program. We still, as of this morning, have received no answer. No answer to a forthright and open letter. In responding to this, we are simply asking today on the floor of the House of Representatives for the opportunity not only to be heard, but also to make sure that the newest members of this body have a chance to know the facts of the case. In reauthorizing this program, the first priority should be to make sure that our nation's poorest uninsured children are covered. The intent of the program is that, and we must first fulfill that goal. Currently, at least 2/3 of the children who do not have health insurance are already eligible for federal help through either SCHIP or Medicaid. The second priority is to ensure that SCHIP does not replace or significantly impact those who already have private health insurance and replacing it with a government-run program. Speaking of common sense, why would you take someone who has private health insurance and move them to a government-run program? Madam Speaker, if this legislation passes, we know that there are 2.4 million children who will be moved from private insurance to SCHIP, a program that reimburses physicians 30 to 50% less than private insurance. As a matter of fact, last night in the Rules Committee, there was, in the debate that took place, an acknowledgement from the Democrat side lead who said, yes, he did understand. They're even having problems getting physicians who will accept the patients because of the reduction in the reimbursement. Common sense would tell you that alone is not cost-effective nor common sense. More to my point about the newest members of this body understanding the facts of the case, because regular order did not take place, and how would we expect them to know what they were going to vote on? Congress should be encouraging superior health care for our nation's children, not undermining it. Common sense. Furthermore, a citizenship verification standard is critical to ensuring that only U.S. citizens and certain legal immigrants are allowed to access taxpayer-funded benefits, not illegal immigrants. The underlying legislation takes out from the law and offers no safeguards to ensure a check that it will be for American children before illegal immigrants. Once again, cost-effective, once again, common sense for the new members of this body. The Democrats proposed $32.8 billion expansion of a program that has yet to accomplish its original intent is typical of my friends on the other side. My friends, the Democrats, continue to push their government-run health care agenda, universal coverage, as they call it, even though this legislation moves 2.4 million children currently on private health coverage to an inferior public program with less access. Common sense says you should not be doing that. So, then, with physicians scaling back on Medicaid and SCHIP due to the extremely low government reimbursement rate, why would we want to subject 4 million more children to this type of care? Once again, the standard of common sense. I don't know that this bill passes that hurdle. Madam Speaker, it seems likely that my Democratic colleagues are putting their agenda first, not our children's health care. In the days where Congress is faced with a second $350 billion financial services bailout and a proposed $1.2 trillion surplus package, is the federal government in any financial health care costs for children who are already receiving private health insurance? Once again, a test. Common sense, cost-effective, would fail this legislation. The current legislation before us recklessly increases entitlement spending by at least $73.3 billion over the next 10 years. That is increasing it due to the new entitlements. Neither cost-effective nor common sense. This expansion will allow SCHIP to grow at an annual rate of 23.7% over the next 5 years. Once again, not cost-effective, not common sense. Based on the Treasury Department's financial report, the government has $56 trillion in unfunded liabilities, the majority of which are in the federal government's health care program. Why not do something that would be for the nation's poorest children rather than trying to push 2.4 million more children, unless you have a political agenda rather than a public policy agenda? Each year that Congress fails to act on a solution, the long-term problem grows by $2 to $3 trillion. Do my friends on the other side of the aisle not see the writing on the wall? Where's common sense? Madam Speaker, last week a bipartisan group of members voted against the Democratic Party's $1.2 trillion surplus package. Not only was the Democrat plan full of wasteful government spending that would not stimulate the economy, but my friends on the other side of the aisle shut out Republicans from the process, much as they are doing today. The American people are hurting, and the economy is struggling. Americans know that we cannot borrow and spend our way back to a growing economy. Republicans have a plan for fast-acting tax relief that will release the resources and creativity